Hey guys, Brickyo here, and today we are working on this area of the city, which will probably look really weird, and well, it should. But let's not start over here. Let's go over here. So I decided that I wanted to bring down all of my Ninjago bins and just play with stuff, put it in the city, see what I liked, if anything. The sort of natural starting point for that was the Temple of Airjitzu. So, yeah, I played around with that. The funny thing is, in its base form, the model is like 43 by 43 studs, which is a little weird. So it doesn't quite fit anywhere, not on a 32 by 32. I did realize that it would work with a 32 by 32 and some road base plates on all the sides, because that's like a 44 by 44 space. So pretty much the goal almost. But because of the way the temple is built in its stock form, there's no back to it. So I didn't really want to put it sort of in the middle of anything, because it would just look weird from half of the angles. So I settled on putting it in the corner. And yes, I did put up the Visit Ninjago City poster, which will kind of be above it. But yeah, I think that's cool. And basically this whole process of deciding to put it in that corner, well, I decided to move the water section of the city over one base plate. So now the city edge is on the edge of it's actually a little off the table, but it's okay, don't worry about it. So the lighthouse is here now. Instead of being sort of one out, it's in line with the city. But that's okay, because there's still a lot of area for water. And doing this basically cuts out 5 base plates. That would be just pure ocean right here. So I think that's good. It really cuts down on the number of these I have to buy. But yeah, so that was kind of reason number one, or that sort of transformed into that. It just really worked out. You'll see other updates throughout, or things that are new, like this Elmo, which I'll try to cover all of the little stuff in a separate video, just because there's a lot of little stuff and I want to focus on the temple in this video. So yeah, I just took off the temple right now because I was in the process of sort of adding some water to it, and then I came up with an idea, and it required kind of rebuilding the temple. So I just kind of sat down on the floor and started taking things apart. But yeah, this is kind of representative of my brain. It's just a complete disaster, but somehow it works. I don't know. So basically, in order to integrate it better into the city, I want to do this sort of border around the area. And in some cases, this border will overlap. So doing a border here will make this be a 42 by 42 square from here to here, which the set is 43 by 43, but what I'm going to do is sort of overlap the buildings onto the border. So I think the market, the edge of it will actually end up being here, and I might swap out some of these tiles for plates, and then I can stick stuff to them. Oh, and you will notice that this is a road base plate that used to be under the ocean. It's now here, which is good, because there's a lot of big plates that don't need to be stuck on every stud. So here it actually kind of worked out. I'm in the process of shifting everything over. So like this is the blacksmith shop, and it'll be like that. So there'll be some kind of rocks that overlap, and there's a tree that's supposed to be right here, and that will overlap too. But yeah, and this is hanging off by 5 studs. But one day when the city expands, there will be another set of road base plates behind here, so it won't actually look that weird, because then I can kind of finish the border. But right now, yeah. And the temple will be open to the back. Like, this is a straight road, so I have a T intersection and then a straight right here. But I don't know. There's nothing interesting that's going to be over here, so I think it's fine. One thing I would like to do is possibly buy another Temple of Airjitzu set. Or if I can get just the temple part, then I can mirror it and sort of build a backside. So that won't happen for a long time, but that would be the solution. So yeah, but for right now I'm just focusing on getting the set that I actually have in the city because I want to, and I think it looks really cool in the corner here. And then, yeah, so I was going to put the Palace Cinema in this corner eventually when I get that, which will be a while. But now, obviously, the temple's here, that won't work. So what I was thinking was I moved the palace to this corner because shifting the ocean over, I kind of just shifted the whole city over, adding a row of base plates here. That's a straight, that's a road, but then I have 3 open slots right here. And I was thinking, well, this is a corner, so I can do the Palace Cinema here, and then I have these 2 open for whatever. Maybe like the Ninjago Museum, because that's kind of like I feel like that's a really big, important part of the city, but I have no plans for that yet, other than I'm thinking that maybe it'll take up 2 base plates and it can go here. Yeah, that's kind of it. So it's kind of a weird process, just kind of rebuilding a set to incorporate it into a city with some mods. It's a different mindset than when like building your own mock, because you kind of want to preserve as much of like the original set, but at the same time not. So it's weird. But yeah, so I will continue taking this apart and putting it in the city. Yeah, so it'll be like that or something. And then doing that border on the back makes this an even number of studs, so it just kind of works out pretty. And then it sort of gives a reason for the river, or there's the sort of fountain here, and then it's flowing out. It gives a reason for that to stop. So yeah, maybe like they sort of wanted to preserve this area of the city, and so they did. And it kind of works because it really only takes up 1 block. Granted, there is no sidewalk here, but that's just how it's going to be. I don't really have a solution for that. And then the bridge I will reinstate that. It just won't be attached. It'll be sort of out in front more, probably around here. And I'll have to deal with the crosswalk because right now it's going into there, but I don't know, maybe we can just assume Lego people are smarter than that. But yeah. Oh, and the light brick on the back. So because this side is currently hanging off the table on no base plate, it does still work, even though that light brick is dying, but this function will still work. If I ever put a road behind it, that won't work because then this won't really be able to travel, although maybe if I just put some tiles under it. Actually, yeah, that would solve it. I just remove the plate on the bottom and then just put like 2 rows of tiles, and then that would work. So yeah, I'm gonna continue sort of I guess at this point kind of completely rebuilding at least the blacksmith shop and the marketplace. And yeah, we'll see what that looks like. Well, I have pretty much completed that project. So yeah, there is the temple. I put it all on the base plates, and I did some kind of minor landscaping work just around the river. I'm gonna just come around there to show it off better. Yeah, ultimately it's a sort of all I really did was expand on what was already there in the set. So I just added more water and more rocks and things, and I think I added more of these stem pieces. There were a couple of them in the set, but I think I added more. And I guess I am missing a dragon for right there on the bridge. The bridge is held in place by just some jumpers. Kind of these pieces are just underneath it. And then I sort of just kept it going around. So the bridge is at kind of a weird angle. I'm not quite sure how the math worked out on that, but there's two jumpers and they connect. So yeah, that's cool. I have the little firework cart here. I like leaving that kind of out in the front. I think it adds something interesting. And there are the chickens. I was thinking about kind of what I would display here, and I think I do want it to be sort of it's sort of in the city as like a tourist destination, like an old ancient temple kind of thing. But it is still the Temple of Airjitzu, so I'm thinking I'll put a little scene of Cole realizing he's a ghost right after the ninja made it out. And I was also thinking maybe sort of inspired by the painting scene back here, I might move the painting stuff outside and have the Misako minifigure painting kind of outside just so it's a little more prominent. Back here you can see it right now, but I do hope to cover that all up one day. And then I did, back here, I did add some sort of seats to the Shadow Theater. If you can kind of see. And yeah, those are just sort of designed to be like, it's a historical monument and they kind of preserved the Shadow Theater and made it a little more tourist friendly. So maybe there's like a historian here that's sort of guiding, kind of, you can go and see a Shadow Theater that's done in the ancient style or whatever. So that was kind of my thinking there. I did land on this border with these 1x2 tiles going along. I think it looks a lot prettier. Yeah, and I think it looks really good, and it just sort of helps to kind of make the curb more interesting. In other places throughout the city, I'm not really planning on doing sort of like patterns in the curbs. Really, my main goal is for the rest of the city, or at least in places where I've worked on it so far, is to just use kind of the biggest pieces possible. So I really kind of wouldn't want a whole lot of like smaller pieces on a curb, say by the bookshop, just because, I don't know, I feel like those pieces should be longer. When they're smaller, they're broken up more often, which you can use. I used it here as sort of like the effect of that. I like all of the pieces are small, so it's like a recurring pattern that looks good. But if you just sort of mixed in 1x2s with like 1x8s, then I think it would just kind of look weird. Like I think it would just look weird if it's kind of random. So that's my reasoning behind that. Other than that, I don't really have that much to say. It's the Temple of Airjitzu. I made some small changes, but there you go. Some things that I need to work on in the city are definitely just kind of setting up the little scenes, the little details in places where I have things built. Like I should add some minifigures to the front of the temple and watching and stuff, and maybe Woo's Tees has things going on. There's actually a Woo minifigure inside of there, but that's kind of it. So that is going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, share it with your friends, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.